Hey everyone, this is Adrian from my channel Random Drop. If you like our content, make sure to subscribe. We're more than halfway to 1,000 subscribers. From there, this channel's quality and content can grow quite significantly, and I hope that you stick around. But anyway, let's get back to the video. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Random Drop, and today I need to talk about Devil May Cry Netflix. Let's get into it. So, a bit of history with Devil May Cry for me. I've really liked the Devil May Cry series since I was a little kid. Not for the story, but more for like the cool factor and the gameplay. And the story was always something that was kind of in the background. Really, probably the one that got the most enjoyment out of the story was Devil May Cry 5. Because I think that's when they were finally able to like tell a decent story, but that's also hype and cool, but has like some heartfelt moments and things like that, right? While being in this stupid world where Dante exists. And I'm really excited whenever Devil May Cry does finally get a sequel, or I hope it does, as I would like to explore that world a bit more through their lens. Devil May Cry has never been a highlight story-wise for me. Again, it's more like a tonal thing. It's more of an attitude thing that I've always liked Devil May Cry for. And of course gameplay. So when Devil May Cry Netflix is announced coming out, that's kind of what I'm looking for with this show. Is I'm not expecting like this in-depth dialogue or anything like that, or not even the quality of like the Castlevania Netflix or anything like that. I'm expecting just to be like taken on like a fun ride in this world with characters I like and care about. Like with Castlevania, Devil May Cry Netflix is like a reconfiguration of the story, right? Grabbing bits and pieces here to like make a whole new story, but that should still be somewhat recognizable. It works really well in Castlevania because Castlevania is about a guy who jumps and whips things, and there's like very little story until you get to the later games. But those first couple games, there's not much. You just need to set a few base things like who Dracula is, who Dracula's wife was, and who Alucard was, and so forth, and you can just kind of fucking go buck wild. And that's what they did with Castlevania, and it worked out great. Devil May Cry has a bit more lore, but it was always in this weird thing, was like, does Devil May Cry exist on Earth? Like, it's never like super explicit in the actual games. They never really go on to like, how does the full world work in Devil May Cry? Because you're always just focused on that island where they praise Sparta in Devil May Cry 4, or just the tower in DmC 3. Right? You never really get to see like, how do regular people live and react to demons? The games don't really get into that, right? Because it's not really the focus. They just want you to go to a place and kill a bunch of fucking demons and jump and shoot. So they grab the pieces and form this thing here, Devil May Cry. And I would say like I was entertained the whole time, but man, there's a lot of cringeworthy moments, and just like moments that make me feel like DmC, the reboot that nobody really likes, it makes that seem like Shakespeare compared to the shit that was like happening in Devil May Cry Netflix. It honestly, and it's more of like the edgelordy tonal stuff. After episode 3, it really falls apart. I really don't want to spoil more, but the way that they depict the world and what's going on is like, I get what they're doing, and I don't mind it. I don't even mind the main villain's motivations, but it's just so fucking ham-fisted. That's more of my issue with it. I don't mind them going this route, but how they depict the villains and the issues of the world, and maybe it should be ham-fisted for Devil May Cry, but it's just too large of a change. And hey, so we're just like gonna get into spoilers here, because this is what I need to talk about. I watched the first 3 episodes and I was having like a really good time, really enjoying it, but after episode 3, it really falls apart. It very simply, the demons are depicted as an oppressed race that are oppressed by the rich demons in the other world. And when Sparta closed off the demon world, he just jailed them up with Mundus. And Mundus actually gained a lot from that happening, as it just made sure he was in complete control and in complete power. So now there's like demons who are trying to like escape into the human world as refugees. Dude, it's like a whole fucking thing, and it's really fucking stupid. It's like, I was like on board for it for a bit. Watching the show, I was like, okay, yeah, sure, you can do it. But again, it's like the ham-fisted way they do it. Because I don't mind them doing a storyline like, hey, not all demons are bad. They can have some humanistic aspects, right? Just like how Sparta fell in love with the woman and defied his whole race to seal the thing. Nah, they make Sparta seem like an asshole who just like ran away, basically. But that's my point, right? They really try to ham-fist like, oh, look at these poor demons, they're just trying to live as well. And again, I'm fine with that storyline, but it's how they do it, where it's just like, here's my family and my demon family, and look at these children, and we're so oppressed. Wow, they could have just made one singular demon character that probably helps Lady out, because he's like, man, these Mundus guys are going too far, or man, this bunny guy is going too far, and he helps Lady out, or something like that, right? It kind of like Sparta-like to be placed in modern times, to show that like maybe it would get Lady to think, oh, not all demons are bad. Oh, it would get Dante to think, oh no, not all demons are bad. They can do this plot line, but it's just how fucking super ham-fisted it is in this fucking show. And then the ending too, where it's like, hey, we won. Oh, I have the gate. I have this convenient item that can just open portals into the demon world. We're just gonna shoot missiles into there because I'm just like some religious zealot, and this is the war on hell, and fuck yeah, America. And I imagine it's building up to like some other bad guy, right? Some other human bad guy or something like that. But again, when they're shoot missiles into the demon portal, it's not Mundus's army they're hitting or any of his buildings. It's just some random fuckos who look super poor and broke. And we never actually get to see like the bad demons, like the actual demons. Every demon that shows up in the show is like some oppressed fuckwad. And all the bad demons are usually just like some big crab monster or some shit, right? It's really fucking weird. Yeah, it's largely a mess. Like, I enjoyed like all the scenes with Dante and Lady. Like, I liked watching Lady, but and I just wanted like a bit more out of her. Or I liked when Lady and Dante were interacting and hanging out, but most of this show is them not doing that, and them being completely separated, or her being a dick to Dante and her just being a loyal soldier, and it just like, you don't get much out of her. I wish her backstory was better and more expanded upon. I liked the main villain and his motivations and the reveals behind him and whatnot. But yeah, I wouldn't say this show is terrible, but the show overall feels a lot more like it's an adaptation of DmC rather than Devil May Cry. If you're a Devil May Cry fan, you probably get what I mean here. I think the show's like an entertaining, fun time, but if you know anything about Devil May Cry, it's kind of, you're just gonna be like twitch a lot, right? It's gonna just like be like, what the fuck? Why would you? Okay, weird. And there's also things in terms of like production value, like why do all the demons have like this weird 3D model shit going on? It looks really stupid and bad, but the actual animated parts and the combat looks really good. Again, I was entertained the whole time. I overall would say would enjoy myself. I've seen worse shit, but there's a lot of times where I'm just shaking my head being like, man, that plot line is like really dumb or like super forced, and like the music doesn't help, like makes it even more cringe. And I understand he's trying to hit a time period and failing, but it just like doesn't actually work. Whoever the director is or what, we are seeing what Devil May Cry means to them, but I think they're like totally off. They land more in that DmC camp, honestly, a fan. If you remove all like the America fuck yeah stuff and like all that weird stuff, like the show's actually like pretty alright. But again, it's like the ending and that whole character part of like the vice president and all that shit. It feels weird, dumb. It feels like you're watching Idiocracy happen. It clearly has thoughts on like America and like the current political climate and things like that. And it just seems super out of place in Devil May Cry, is I guess how I would explain it. I don't mind that stuff in my games or anything, but like when people are looking at TVs like a bunch of idiots talking to this cowboy president while all this like serious shit is happening. It feels like, I'm trying to like gather my thoughts here, but it feels like the world that they're in, it feels like Dante himself is like a kooky woohoo character, but it feels like the rest of the world and like regular people are kind of like that too. They're all kind of like insufferable fucking idiots, and they're all listening to this like cowboy president and whatnot, and it just like doesn't match the tone, as like everything should kind of be like a bit more darker and whatnot, while Dante is the woohoo fucking idiot who's jumping around slaying freaking demons. But yeah, I don't know. I'm ranting on a little bit here, but I really wanted to get my initial thoughts out on the show here. TLDR, I think the show's like fine, but if you're like a Devil May Cry fan, there's a lot of parts that are gonna make you like twitch and be like, that's weird, dumb, what? Because I did enjoy like the references, the combat, and
the plot they're setting up. They showed like Mundus and things like that. But again, it's some like the story aspects and things like that. It's just like, I think it makes for a good TV show, but it's like not what I was looking for Devil May Cry. I guess I would put it that way. I think it's overall like well made and fine, but overall it's like not what I was looking for Devil May Cry. I was looking for something more like Devil May Cry 5, tonally and whatnot, and story wise, because I think they like finally nailed like what kind of story they want to tell about like this family and whatnot in Devil May Cry 5, and this feels like more like DmC. Like, quite honestly, that's kind of where I land. But hell, I'll watch the second season and see where it goes. It's like very obvious that after the ending, the demon world's gonna retaliate because America attacked, and that's gonna lead to Virgil and whatnot, and it's a whole fucking thing. But again, let me know how you feel down below. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next random drop. Peace.